Good evening, everybody. We still got a few that are coming in. We appreciate this. This is a much bigger crowd than we anticipated. We've been putting a lot of work in this, so we're glad to see everybody show up. But on behalf of Jeff South, who's the creator of Club Intrigue in Atlanta, my wife Candy and I want to welcome you to the Nicole Allen Salon and the very first Club Intrigue event on the road. So we appreciate everybody coming. Hopefully we have a very good event tonight. So who here has been up in Atlanta and gone to the Club Intrigue event? Anybody? For those who haven't, really look it up. They have great training events. I know our salon's gone up there and done a few events. One of the great things that Jeff has done is he brings stylists. It's an event that allows stylists to educate stylists. And it's and he's trying to get it where we expanded it, or he's expanded it all over the place. So, we're lucky to be the first one. But go up there and attend him. He has some Happy Mondays. He's had some great artists up there. His team has some great cutting and razor classes and color classes. So come on up there. You have a good time. It's a great event if you've never been up there. Now, tonight, we're not the only Club Intrigue event. In Atlanta right now, Jeff is hosting the Industry Vision Summit, where he has a panel of senior industry leaders, and they're discussing the present and the future of the industry. So we have that being live streamed in right now, and tonight we are live streaming back to Atlanta and to anybody else that's connected to live stream tonight to watch us. So, if you can check up there, they have they have like the president of KAO and Goldwell is up there and some of the other good leaders. So it'll be a good night tonight with them. Tonight we're going to be hosting or having a drawing. Cosmoprof Beauty Systems Group was kind enough to donate a few irons for us tonight. So if you haven't tonight sometime, make sure you sign in on the front. Most of you probably already did. And that'll get you entered in for a nice little drawing tonight at the end of tonight's show. So tonight we're lucky to have some great talent. We have Master Goldwell colorist Robert Brown's going to be here tonight. We have Casey Green and the Chapman and Green team is going to be here doing some demonstration color and some cuts that they've done earlier today. We have Ashley Ingram and Candy Roth of the Nicole Allen Salon team is going to be here. We were going to have one more artist, Rebecca Taylor. She came down with a bug, so she wasn't able to drive in from Pensacola tonight. So maybe we'll catch her on one of our next events. But we have a great set of people, so it should be a good night. So at the end tonight, we are going to have a social over at Buffalo Wild Wings. So we're inviting everybody to come over. We're going to have drinks and have a good time over there. One of the big things on the industry is a lot of times we get so busy and you never get to meet anybody. So come on over there, meet your other stylists, and get to know each other. We're going to bring the artists that are going to be over there along with some of the models. So if you have any other questions or them, feel free to ask them while you're over there tonight. Okay, it should be a good time. Tonight, the way it's going to run, we're going to have a few people up here, and then as they get done, they're going to rotate out. Feel free to ask questions. We encourage it. So if you see some, you ask questions on a color technique or formulas or cutting, feel free to ask them. Okay, the stylists are looking forward to have your input and you're getting involved. Okay, it'll help them out. So I hope everybody has a great time tonight. We are going to start tonight with the master colorist Robert Brown, Casey Green from Chapman and Green, and then Ashley Ingram. They're going to be coming on with their models. So I hope everybody has a good time tonight. If you need anything, just let us know. But we'll have a good time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Nicole Allen Salon. This is an honor and a pleasure. This is probably the first president this type of event. Hopefully, everyone will be encouraged. Those of us who are watching out in Webland, hopefully you will be encouraged. But while I give my colleagues a chance to get settled, I just wanted to share with you something from my past. I've been doing hair for quite a long time. And it's one of those things where you get to that place where you think you've seen it and done it all. Are there any super new stylists with us tonight? Very new, right out of beauty school. Fantastic. It's great that you're here. Awesome. When you're a new stylist, you're so hungry for it. You go to everything. Hair show, bag deal. Get the bag deal. You'll travel here and there. It's a party. It's awesome. That's fun. And then sometimes about the 3 to 5 year mark, you go through that stage in your career where you're like, it's just shampoo, seen it, done it. They're doing all the same thing. You kind of go through that weird place in your career. Do you remember that? One time when I was about that place in my career, I went to a hair show. I won't say the name, who it was, but I was standing there, and they did this model on stage, and it was the most heinous thing I've ever seen done on a human girl, honestly. And they snatched the cape off, and they're like, take a walk, baby, you know, and everybody's all, and I was the only one standing there, and I thought, is it official? Like, have I lost it? Like, am I the only person that doesn't get it anymore? And then all of a sudden, I had this epiphany, this lightning flash that was like, there's no such thing as a bad hair show. If you go to a hair show and there's something for you, awesome. If it changes the way you see and do it, awesome. But if it makes you revisit in your mind how you would do it instead, differently or better, that's still educational. You know what I'm saying? If you watch someone do a haircut, it's like, I could have been done by now and eaten lunch. Well, good. Great. You just had to revisit that in your head, and it was totally educational. So this forum is so incredible because we get together here without competition, without ego, sharing, comparing, just kind of turn each other on and showcasing what we all do. We all do the same people. We all have the same clients. Everybody gets in where they fit in. Don't you agree? Yes. I've never been out to steal anybody's people. I'm trying to find my own people. You've got your own people. And none of us can do it like we do it ourselves, right? So welcome. Thank you for taking time out, and hope you enjoy tonight. It's awesome. Like I said, please interact with us. Ask us any questions. There's no right or wrong. We're just stylists like you, doing what we do, doing it together. So, Casey, what do you have going on?
First of all, my name is Casey Green. My husband Larry and I own Chapman Green Salon locally. Larry's been doing hair 22 years. I've been doing hair about 16. I was a technical advisor for Schwarzkopf Professional for 7 years. I quit doing that the year my son was a senior because I did a lot of traveling and going. I really wanted to spend that last year with him, that he would be in high school. And then about that time, my daughter was entering high school, and I just decided to kind of quit that for a little while. But learned a lot, enjoyed it. I've done some Goldwell classes. I've done some Aveda classes. I've done L'Oreal classes. You just can never learn enough. And there's some great educators in all color lines. So I'm glad to be here. You want me to explain my model?
Yeah, let's tell us what your vision is.
Candace is one of our clients. She's been coming to us a long time. She sent a picture to me. She kind of wanted to go with kind of a color melting ombre technique, similar, maybe not quite as, maybe a little different, but in that range. The image she sent me was a little darker than her natural, and there was a lot of violet towards the ends. So that's kind of what we're going for. I'll use 3 different tones. I've got a real deep, rich, kind of, it's not really black. It's probably going to a mix in 2 colors. So it's kind of a chocolatey, but in the black family, but not a real dark black. And then I've got some level 1 blue base veils I'll be slicing in just to give that, you know, that purple something to play off of where it'll really show up. And then going to do a real deep violet towards the ends. So that's what we're going for.
Sounds amazing. Yeah. Sounds amazing. How about you, Ashley? What you have going on?
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Ashley Ingram, and I have been working at Nicole Allen Salon for the past year. And like Robert was saying earlier about you kind of get stuck in that little rut, and then it's like, I need something. So I was hungry. I got hungry again, like fresh out of school. And so I made a career change, well, salon change, and came over here to Nicole Allen, who are on the forefront of this area, and I'm happy to be here. So thanks, Candy and Jeff. And tonight, earlier today, I colored Jessica. This is my model, beautiful model Jessica. I colored her with our Top Chic, which was a 6RR and a 7RO. And then I just kind of went in on a W, kind of where that shine line, where she's going to hit, if it falls or breaks, into here. Kind of separate that color with a 7KR and a KK mix. And I also did a little bit in the front. Tonight, the vision for her haircut, I'll be doing a razor haircut with the plier razor. It's a straight edge blade that we get taught by Arrojo. And we're just going to go for a simple bob, a nice inverted, kind of have a little bit of kick lift, and we're going to do a nice fringe, heavy fringe.
That sounds incredible. Everybody loves to see someone really utilize the razor well. If you haven't explored razor cutting, it's amazing. It does something totally different to the hair fiber. I like to mix them up both and, you know, whatever. This is my amazing model, Caroline. And honestly, I've got some before pictures, so if we powwow at the Buffalo Wild Wings, I'll show you some stuff off my phone. Caroline's one of those girls that is so beautiful to me, and her hair was like, it's mid-length and long, and she likes the length. And she had like I would just call it a pedestrian highlighting, just like a typical highlighting that we're all forced to do, right? The 365 foil hammered out kind of highlighting, right? That lady?
That's an awesome name for it.
And it's just that what had happened to her is that the tone had gotten so overtoned and flat that from a distance across the parking lot, I would describe her as gray-haired. Have you seen that color before? It was like pecan shell, like just flat, no luster, and so ashy. I was like, Grandma, what you doing? And she's too pretty, so to put that color back in her face is awesome, but we still want some dimension. So ordinarily, in a normal salon time construct, I would probably do it all at the same time. But what I did is I just went ahead and pushed the reset button like you have to do sometimes and just got a solid canvas going on, right? So we did her retouch. She had about 1.5 inches of retouch, and her natural colors just go real flat 5, about like mine, but maybe a little bit ashier. And then her mids and ends, it was just a grown-out highlighting. Just it was one of those things like, well, do I reconnect the dots? Do you move it up? Or do you like cancel it out and try to get something else going? You could do a heavy low light maybe and trick the eye with it, but I was trying to just to stop, right, and just push the reset button, like, let's go again, right? So I used one of our top sheet colors, which is actually designed for gray coverage, but there's so many uses to it, but it's the Triflective Naturals. And I used it at a level 7, just knowing that it would give me like kind of a coverage and deposit because I was going to trick it into the old color using the Triflective Naturals Colorants color, which is more of an acidic, demi-type color that's a sister to it. So I was using alkalinity on the new hair where I needed it, and maybe not so much on the old hair that was thirsty. So I was able to do that at the same time with the retouch and then into the other color, which we call kind of a color balance. And her hair was so healthy, it needed lots of guts. It needed like some drive and some color. So I was able to use a 6 on the mids and ends where I used a 7. So this was kind of coming up a little bit. This was going down a little bit. And I married in the middle, and I got this great chocolatey color. Can you see? Mm-hmm. It's really nice, and it's virtually seamless. So it's not bad right now. And that's the way, don't you like that rush? When you get that, first blow dry, it's like, score. I'll be out of here in a second, I might get to eat. So what I thought I would do is just to show you like a simple technique that you can do in the salon that's a simple dimension without putting 465 foils in. And I'm going to use 2 different colors to lighten with. I'm going to use our High Lift Special Series, the 12 series, which is like a hybrid between our High Lift 11, which is our high lift with a lot of control. It's like it had a baby with one of our lighteners, and they made this other baby. And this can give you actually 4 to 5 levels of lift with 2 parts 40 volume developer on natural hair. But I can use it on tinted hair, but of course, would you expect that much lift on tint? Of course not, right? But if I could get like 2, happy as a lark. I might get like a nice, beautiful caramel. That'll be my mid-tone. And then I'm going to use our ammonia-free lightener, the Silk Lift Gentle. And I'm going to use that with like 20 volume on top of the tint. And I'm going to get like a nice, like brighter light caramel. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to give her white stripes and a black background, right? I'm not trying to do that at all. And I'm going to finesse it from the back to the front with a simple, long, elongated triangle, if you can see that. Comes to a point right here, and it's like a flashlight beam, right? Goes out wide. And I save some pieces around the face because the average client wants to see this, right? We call that money zone. As long as you hit me in my mirror, I'm happy as a lark. I don't know the back's solid, whatever. Right? So I'm going to get my colors mixed up and let the girls chat for a second. I'll be back with you. Second. Casey, you got it?
Yeah. Candace obviously has some previous highlights on her hair, and she did at some point have color throughout the hair. The advantage I have here is that that's faded, so I can still use a permanent color on top of this. I don't have to worry about removing anything or trying to lift some of this because that color is faded enough that, well, first of all, my level 1 blue is a deposit only, and my violet that I've created is in Agora Royale Schwarzkopf. It is L89, which is a very high lift red violet, and I've mixed that with a 699, which is a level 6 double violet. So my L89 has a very high ammonia content. My 699 not so much, but with the 20 volume and bringing those two together, I'm going to be able to create a deep violet color, but I'm going to get some pop from that L89 because it's a much higher. It's truly a lift and deposit color that is very. You'll see somebody in a minute that has that too, one of our other models, but it's a true fuchsia. So I've just mixed those colors in. So I'm going to, if you can see how her ends are a little lighter here, all of that's going to work to my advantage because as I paint through some of that, it's going to all pick up slightly differently. It's still going to be rich, but I'll get lots of variation just because she has that previous color that's grown out. I can work with that. No, second.
I'm just starting on in the back of my model. I've had her to just kind of tilt her head straight down. I've given her just a middle part. Don't really usually part off the center, on the center when you're doing a razor cut, especially when you're going to be doing bangs. So I just kind of part it where she naturally goes. And we're just tilting her head straight down so I can find that bone. That's our central point for how much we want to go straight up the middle. And I'm just starting by with a closed razor and keeping my sections really, really thin and clean. And then as I go in, closed on the razor is just where you're creating a line. So you're just kind of not opening the razor really wide. You're just going in, creating a line, just building my base at this point. As I get closer to the occipital bone, then I will be doing more of an open razor, which is just giving more texture to the hair. And so I'll just keep working my way up.
Beautiful. Awesome. Good. I'm going to turn this way so you can see what I'm doing a little bit without body blocking you. So I'm starting in the back, and I try to work my foils away from the face. It's kind of about the client experience. They really don't like to be hammered in with foils all up in the face, like, where am I? Right? And you're less likely to get a bunch of movement. So if I can stand behind her and work this way, it's probably better. My two formulas, my 12 series, you notice I dispensed it from the canisters with the tools from Goldwell. I've got that stirred up. This is with 2 parts 40 volume. I'm expecting this to be my mid-light on this tinted background. And this is the Silk Lift Gentle. And in addition to being one of the most incredible lightning systems, we have the ammonia-free and we have the strong, which is more of the classic ammonia-type lightener. This is so conditioning with the silk protein and all this stuff. It also has the intensive silk serum that you can introduce into the formula. And it's supposed to be 3 pumps. So we always make sure and do this by the client so they see the goodness they're paying for, you know. And I'm like, you know, I'll do like 2 pumps. It's supposed to be 3, but I'll do 2 and I'll look around like, you know, like, just for you, an extra pump, you know, like, make them feel like all good about it. But 3's the pump, but that just really ups the conditioning ante here a little bit. And then I can deliver a lot more condition and everything. So when I start this technique, I've got my background shade, and like I said, we achieved a great look here already. But just to gild the lily, this is our Colorance demi-color. I mixed 5 and 7 BG to kind of create 6 BG. With me, level 6, brown gold, gorgeous, chocolate pudding, whatever. Got this all just as this gilding the lily. It was already pretty, making it even better. And she parts this way. So there's no right or wrong here, but I'm going to go toward the part. I want to get some striation and dimension, but I don't want Kelly Clarkson from the first American Idol, right? I don't want cat scratch fever kind of thing. I want to just kind of have it just finessing where they're like drapery, like panels, hanging over panels of color, la la la. But starting in the back, Daddy got to put his glasses on. All you young people, you don't know. Just wait. So I'm going to go this way. So starting in the back, even though this seems not that big a deal, I'm going to start with one small piece. Seems like no big deal. I made sure that this reaches my design line. How many of you have ever done like a highlighting where there's layers in the back, and after you're done, you realize that they didn't reach the bottom? It's like, sorry about the back. So I think we're so busy as colors looking where color's coming from, we forget to look at where it's going to. So it's always a good way to check that. So I'm going to start with a single piece, and this may seem like minuscule, like what's the point of that piece? But they're going to build, so my signal is going to start weak, and it's going to get stronger to the front, and it'll grow out so much prettier that way. So I'm just going to use these long foils, and I'll start with my mid-tone. So if you picture the placement back here, I'm going to do weave, and I'm going to get stronger as I go to the front. So I'm starting with my light, with my mid-tone, the 12 series. And as I paint it on, I'm just going to kind of I'm going to stay away from the scalp. I'm not trying to make her a Bratz doll, right? It doesn't need to be sewn in like the doll factory, like blonde coming from the scalp. I want her to kind of like, whoosh, come out, you know. So I'm just kind of finessing it out a little bit. And this first foil, if you think about the placement, I'm going to build this way, and it's going to be like bowling pins. This is the head pin piece. I'm going to take a slice of solid, then 2 pieces, ding dong, and then a slice, and then 3. With me? It's going to walk, and then it's going to get up to like baby slice, whisper slice, honk. It's going to get stronger as it goes to the front. Make sense? So just a great, technique. You could do this fast. You could have someone's color up and be like, you know what? I've got time to lay in one triangle in this technique. So I'll just do these. How you doing, Case?
Doing good. I'll show you guys how I'm doing this section. Sorry, Candace. I wish I'd brought the picture. I didn't bring it. Because her hair is really fine, and she may roll it some, but she's going to wear her hair straight. Ombres can look really choppy and really strange if you don't get a good blending. I'm building her heaviest violet from the bottom, and I'm slicing. Sorry, guys. Let me turn this way so I can show you on this side of the head. I've already got those spools. And so I slice it at a slight diagonal, starting on the nape. This is how I sliced. So on this bottom section, as I lay the foil, I'm pulling the deepest, richest purple that I want up higher on this bottom section. Sorry, guys. Let me turn you guys this way. Because where I want most of that violet is heavy across the bottom. So I'm pulling that violet up, not all the way to the scalp, because I'm effilating in some of that level 1 blue base, but that bright violet is going to be heavier across the bottom. And then as I slice up, the closer I get to in front of the ear, I start pulling my darker color down and let it'll be the violet-y color be more towards the ends. I've sectioned out a diamond across the top here, somewhat of a diamond, my version of a diamond, because I want to be sure that I have hair that veils very well here. She's not going to want bold violet around her face, but some of these tips it'll be nice to have, but I've sectioned that completely out so that I want to incorporate that all into what's down here. It'll be the same tones, but I'll be doing a slightly different technique through the top. So that's where we are.
Awesome. Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm working my way up near the occipital bone now. She has a long neck, which is really good for a bob shape. Has great texture. So we're just starting to set in her hairline. I'm going for more of that open razor, kind of moving that razor a whole lot, getting a lot of texture on the inside. Contrary to the shear, with your fingers, when you're doing a shear and doing a graduation, you're using your fingers, moving up and down. But with the razor, you are letting the blade do the graduation for you. So it's just all about how you're opening and closing. So I'm just working my way up, finding my guide, and I'm just going in very lightly. And I'm setting it in. Just combing it back and forth to kind of see where I get. And kind of tilt your head just a little bit. You can start to see that I got a little bit of graduation down there. So.
So down towards the nape, you're more of a smaller stroke, right? And then once you move up to the point where you're at, you open it up. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Down through the bottom, I was closed, and then I also went back. When I'm opening right here up under the occipital bone, when I get to the sides, I'm also doing a smaller because I still want to keep that shape, but want to create the texture on the inside. You're welcome.
So I'm up to the 4 pins in a row now, and I've still just been staying with the mid-tone. I always think of it about like where the light focus would be, like where would the spotlight be. And right now I'm still on the back hemisphere, so the bright pieces wouldn't be back here. Can you picture that? I'm going to do it like the bright pieces are going to be around her face more. So right now I'm still just playing with the mid-tone. I haven't moved into the silk lift, and I'm being very careful to stay away. I don't want any kind of a bleeder or hot zone, and my pieces are all pretty delicate. When you're doing long hair in the foils, I always try to remind myself to do the J, like do the color, and then go up the panel. Don't go here in the storm, like, you know, nasty, right? Right, so it's kind of just, I try to, like, you know, keep it neat, be pro, keep it fresh. And then, like I said, on back here, you can actually, you can be fairly general between this. I'm just trying to introduce some color. I'm going to move, you know, heavier as I go forward. So I'm kind of making sure I hit that diagonal. I've always called this part of the hair the storm, where all the rounds of the heads are coming together, plus you have the growth patterns. And there's just not a way that you can slice across it and make it look good. If you're doing like the hoochiest, heaviest, sliciest, chunkiest weave ever, I don't care who it is, when you get to the storm, you probably always need to switch to weave. Does that make sense? I'm on airplanes all the time, and my first thing I do is always look over the seat. And I judge the first, like, ooh, her storm is very stormy. I'm just like, I judge all color work by how the storm looks. So this particular technique comes through. I would either go before the storm with the point, or you need to pass it and include it. It makes sense. You don't want the growth pattern to swirl and showcase that that's where you ended. So I was quite through the storm at that point. So I'm just still working forward, and now I've got my same colorants formula. There's my 5 pieces now, and I've got my colorants formula, and I'm just taking this, and I'm just kind of, I could actually leave some of the color out that I've created that's so beautiful, and it would be like even another tone, right? But right now, this is the back hemisphere of the hair, so I'm staying, you know, chocolatey and caramel. I told Caroline I was going to give her like that candy like a turtle. I wanted like chocolate and caramel and maybe some peanut. You with me? Like who wouldn't like that, you know? I think our clients, you know, they're only excited about the change that they're getting as much as you are. If you act excited, they're excited. I worked for years with a guy who I love to death, but he was so boring. He would walk over and be like, "Hey, girl, you getting hair done? Go get a smock on. We doing highlights?" She'd be like, "Yeah." I'd be like, "David, don't gush. Like, who'd want them now? I feel like you've talked me out of them, you know?" And it's like, to me, if you act excited, they're excited. Sometimes you have to fake it, right? But you have those clients that, you know, have you ever read the statistics on that? They say the #1 reason people quit coming to a salon or to you is never the reasons we think. It's never because the salon's dirty or funky or ugly or has bad music and bad coffee. It's usually because they're bored. Or they'll say, "That girl's nice, but I have never had the same thing. I looked at pictures. I looked the same for the last 10 years. You know, and so they just kind of disappear. You know, so even if they're that client that always puts the kibosh on everything new and fun, they should never know that you don't have something else up your sleeve. You should always tease with a little something like, "Girl, when you're ready, let's jump. Let's jump." You know? I've got a girl coming up later at the end to show you that it was just like she could have robbed a bank today. She looks so different. It's like, girl, you could have hit a bank and then just be like, "What? What, me?" I mean, she's like totally made over. So, you know, that's it's like, that's when you get like the chill bumps, like, oh, you know, so. How you doing, Casey?
Doing good. Okay, I'm moving around the side here. I have to be careful because if you see, you know, the hairline gets a little thinner here, she's going to want some of that to kick out. But again, she's just not going to want to pull her hair back and have a big, bold kind of violet streak. So I'm going to just slice right here. I'm still doing things just below the parietal ridge, and I'm just slicing a slight diagonal, guys. It's just the way I do it. You can do ombre, just like flat, straight sections, but I just always like the way it looks when it's slightly diagonal.
And I'm just continuing this open blade, working up section by section. I'm not really going all the way up one side and then taking it down and going all the way up the other side. I'm kind of keeping my balance here, just so that when I get to the front, I won't be off balance. I won't be trying to figure out where I'm going. And then if you're noticing, whenever I am getting to the razoring part, I'm looking for my guide. I'm taking really, really, really thin sections because she's got a lot of density here in this hair. So I need to be starting, so we'll be working with So we'll be working with some layers in through this mix section, which is going to be good, again, for her texture. And what's left in my fingers is what's left on the head. So if I have a lot of shred and I'm going, her hair is going to be really shredded. And I really want to try to keep this this nice little inverted look, heavy weight line here, but still kind of taking it in a little bit more. So it's just some nice graduation, keeping with my nice clean partings, staying. I think that sometimes, like what Robert said, just kind of going back a little bit, we get to, oh, I know this cut, and I just get with it, you know, and we're not taking the sections, and then when they come back, oh, they call back in, well, I have a little piece left here. That's because we get sloppy sometimes when we think we kind of get good, and then we're too ripe, and then we rot. And, you know, sometimes we lose clientele like that. So we just kind of back to the basics. Everything is basic. So having a good time.
It's true, and the beauty of being in the industry that I have learned after the years where I went through that weird, bitter mid-range, and then that years when I thought there was nothing new, is to remember that with fashion, everything old is new again. Everything is cyclical. Everything comes back. When it comes back, though, we don't do it the same way. We usually have new innovation, new approach. It's reminiscent of it, or it harkens back to, but it's not doing it exactly like we did. Like personally, I hope we never have to do pink rod piggyback perms on the girl with hair down to the floor. I don't ever want to harken back to that ever. Those of you who don't even know. So I don't ever want to do that again. I mean, I'm all about, I can roll a perm. Does everybody still remember how? Does everybody have a mama or an aunt or somebody? Everybody should know how to roll a perm. But hopefully you'll never have to do the stuff we used to do.
Honest to God.
And what's so sad about perming is that the person whose hair wants and needs a perm the most is classically the hair that perms the worst. They have never really figured that out, right? But, you know, I don't know, guys, if you know this or not, but Goldwell started as a perm company in the 1940s. Goldwell actually means golden wave. And our perms are amazing. They really are amazing. You really can perm fine hair as good as it can possibly be done without thrashing it and actually give it some really healthy undulations. So something to explore if you haven't.
Yeah. Okay, I'm approaching the front. Okay, you see how, I mean, I've got the back kind of, I've got to come back into the center. There's not much hair there, but I've got to come back into the center. But as I'm getting here, this is her heavy side. So I have to really think about, you'll notice when I drop this other side, I've got to really bring some of that violet up high on this side, or it'll be only down here. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't have that diamond kind of angled with her part, she'll be really heavy on that shallow side, and she won't have any on the heavy side. So I'm pulling up above the Prada ridge on this side, but I won't do that on the shallow side. Those veils and the violet tones will stay below the Prada ridge because they're going to be heavier either way. I mean, the beauty of what we do, guys, it's just free form. You know, so if you have this idea and you're like, and then you blow dry, and you're like, well, that's not what I thought, but it's actually pretty cool. So I do have a plan. However, I do know her hair is her hair's dry cut, it's shattered, the ends flare, you know, but I do have to take into consideration that she has a heavy side, a definite heavy side, and she has a shallow side. So I'm pulling this up higher for sure. And I'm changing my angle a little because I've been going diagonal, but I don't want to slice all the way against the face, so I'm going to start going a little more vertical here. I will try to do that. I've got heels on them. I can pull that off.
For now, Caroline, how about looking at the ceiling for a second? Okay. I call this the top view. Okay. So I'm working my way up here. It's like a flashlight beam. It went from narrow to wider. I'm slightly on the diagonal toward the part that she wears. And I'm going to finish this out. Now that I'm to the front, I want a little bit stronger signal, but now I've gotten into my lightener, so it's a little bit brighter now, right? And I did save the pieces around the face to do in a second. So I've almost got this put to bed. But I'm going to turn this way again to give some more view area. Let's go this way now. My platter. Everybody calls this something different. Sometimes we call this microweave. We used to always call this inside-out weave. I'm sure you all do it. But where you take a section and you go ahead and you weave it 50%. I'm doing like purposely, la, 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 like this. And I'm going to do one color on one section and one on the other, right? So when they spill together, they'll juice out from the same panel. With me, we all do that. What do you guys call it? Anything? Highlight, low, okay. It could be two lights. I could actually do one with the 12 and one with the lightener, or I could do, in this case, I think I'll do, you know, I could also play with this, right? I could do 12 where it starts, and I could diffuse it into the lightener, right? That's always fun. It's like Casey was saying, it's serendipitous. It's a game. You discover as you go, right? That's how you make up new stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Is it going to smoke and blow up? No. I'm going to fold this differently, though, so I don't throw my juice in my juice. Right? And then I have my leftover piece here. And this could be the dark, right? You see how the dark would ribbon through it? I'm trying to make sure I'm not trying to give her stripes. I'm trying to give her dimension, right? So, how you doing, Ashley?
I'm getting about up to the crown of the head now, and she had some previous layers that I'm just working into, just kind of getting the ends right off, and I'm about at the top of the ear now, so I'll be working over into the sides, just doing a slight over direction in the hair. Her hair's responding very well to this.
The color's delish.
Oh, thank you.
And it's not even dry yet.
I was shooting for that blood orange kind of look, so it's I like it.
For those of you who are using the Max Reds in Top Chic now, if you've seen how they've been reformulated, now when you mix them up, they look like buttercream or just pale pink. It doesn't look as intense as they used to come out of the thing, which means that there's more indirect dye in them that lives inside the hair. So my tip for success is if you're doing a technique that's a little bit tricky, mix in small batches. Because if the color turns beautiful in the bowl, it's already probably bloomed.
Okay.
And it would just be on the outside like paint then, right? You want it to develop inside the hair and come to fruition. Mm-hmm. So on those reds especially, mix small doses and paint. Make sure it looks like buttercream in the bowl. And then you'll get this dynamic result that has the best durability and longevity. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm moving towards the front. You see where this is a lot lighter, and that's heavier sections. So that's going to be brighter. As far as veils, I want to break that up. I don't want to have all this just bright color. So I'm going to start slicing here in between some of the violet. I'm going to start slicing that 1-1. That level 1 dark, true blue black. Think about when you're a kid and you're coloring in a coloring book, how beautiful things look when you go back and outline everything in black. All those colors stand out. That's the same concept here. If I can just create enough shadow in the hair, it'll really help that violet stand out, but it'll keep it from being overpowering too. So.
I love that, Casey. That's going to be awesome. Some people are afraid to introduce black or those dark tones. They think it's going to win over the whole thing, but they don't realize it just works like, it just tricks your eye and kind of gives you that depth.
That's true.
Love it. So around the face here, I'm paying attention to her hairline. You don't want to put anything weird. Caroline has a little bit of a cowlick thing here, right? So you wouldn't want to put a big crazy honk through that, right? It'd be the same thing as the storm I was talking about. So I'm going to do one last. I'm going to close this down with some mid-tone, and I'll flap this back, and I'll work the sides, and she'll be toast. Can you think of a girl that you could do something like this on? It's really, really nice. It's for those girls that do want some. A lot of the color we're doing now comes from underneath or it's on the ends. But for girls who really do want it on the surface, want something on top, this is a more modern spin on it. It looks really, really fantastic.
So I'm just working in through my side now, coming around to the front. So right behind the ear, I don't worry about the ear that much. You just want to not pull as much tension when you're at the ear, especially working around. So I'm just building my base as I did in the back, keeping a closed razor just so I can have it outlined the way that I like, and then I'm going to be pulling what's behind the ear back, over directing back to kind of keep some lean towards the front. And then I will be closing my razor again just to kind of get that smoothness. And in the back, I started doing a little bit of tipping work, which is working with the tip of the blade and just kind of etching out some density and just kind of giving it a little bit more flow. So I'll just keep working it.
You could have been a surgeon, Ashley.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about that, Robert.
You got that finesse. You wouldn't want to hand a razor to Mr. Shaky Hands or anything, right? I hadn't had my coffee yet, and here we go. Or maybe that'd be a good texturizing technique. I don't know.
Shake, shake.
So these panels, I'm working away from the face so she's not captured in, right? And I only gave myself enough space for, I'm doing one caramel one with a little space and a few light pieces, just so when she does ponytail or something. I don't usually do it right to the periphery hair, right? Because it looks, when you pull the hair back, you don't want to give like stripes or streaks, something like that. So this will be a little bit of this. You're fast, Casey. Got that going on.
Guys, I'm just going to follow the same pattern. I have a very narrow strip up the back. I mean, I could show you that, but honestly, I'm still doing the same thing from the bottom. I'm building that weight with, I'm taking the violet color just off the new growth. And I'm just going to build heavier there, and as I move up, there's just, I would flip around and show her, but there's not much hair there. I haven't decided what I'm going to do in the front. Once I drop her hair and really look at how the bangs fall, I might try to connect. It's going to be mostly dark around her face. I might try to connect by slicing a little bit through the bang. When I get up there, I'll kind of decide. Or I might just leave all that dark. Just kind of see what I think when I get up there. That is my chocolate. It is a Agora Viviance, and it is a demi-color, and it's mixed with a 6 volume. It is a level 3 natural mixed with a level 4 chocolate.
And the violet is the pink.
That is the fuchsia mixed with my deep violet. I am. When I'm done with everything, because all along I've left some hair out, and I'll take this level 4, 3 mixed together, that chocolate tone, I'll cover everything that's not in a foil. That is a continuity. So if you have, when you're highlighting, lowlighting, you need that one color that ties everything together, and that's that color for me. Yeah. I'm still adding this in some of my foils at the new growth level. Some of them I didn't. Some of them I just went with the 1 and the violet. That's a 1-1. And there are some straight veils that are all 1-1. But this is truly what you would think of as the base of the color. Yeah. The chocolate is the base. Aww.
So on this type of a technique, I was trying to show you something like this because the worst thing I hate to hear in the salon from anybody is, oh, she's just brown. There's more brunettes on the planet than there is any other color. So to discount the brunettes as a part of your business work is not very wise, right? There's a lot of people, especially as we age with our clients, it starts to get into where it's just like level 5 and 6 gray coverage. Honestly, how boring are you going to make it, right? They're 5s and 6s. If you can't think of something more creative to dance through the mids and ends than just 5 and flat 6s, it's going to be Yawn City, right? Do you have those clients? I mean, what I've always loved about working with Goldwell, and hopefully whatever color line you use, you have that same feeling, but I feel like I know with Goldwell, I always make the hair better. And if you have those clients where after a certain amount of time, you have to ask yourself, if her hair's not getting better every visit, you have to own it. Like, am I doing that? Am I using alkalinity too much on the mids and ends? Am I not nourishing it enough? Does it need a better haircut? You know, like kind of take ownership of that. What could I do to gild the lily, make it prettier, make it better? You should feel great about it every time it walks out. Don't you love to run into a client out in public and they look fabulous? And you're like, score. Have you ever seen one that went, girl, please take off our salon t-shirt? Or could you turn that inside out because now's not the day? But thank you for wearing it, but not now. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but you know what I'm saying. It's like sometimes you see people and you're so proud. And so now as a colorist, for the years I've been working now, I know we all can make hair look fantastic today when it leaves the salon. You know you can. But now play a game with yourself. Can you project in your mind what it's going to turn into? Mm-hmm. Try to set them up for success. Think about how many times it's going to go through the wash cycle. What will it turn into? When the clients leave our salon, we don't know what they do, right? You could have one of those freaky girls that's on that show, My Crazy Little Secret, and she might think she has bugs on her and washes her hair 10 times a day. You don't know what she does, right? Or you could have that one girl that's like, I'm washing it one time in 2 months. I just wet it, So you don't know what they're going to do to it, So it's a fun game to play with. Like, think to yourself, well, I did these colors today. Now, how will they wear? How will this wear in time? What will it turn into? And that's the kind of game I play with myself. That's why I like to mix up the colors and see what they'll turn into over time. Ashley, how's that bob coming?
Yeah, it's coming good.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's starting to dry off a little bit. Starting to see the effects of the aluminum. Our magnetic color is really cool. We just kind of glazed over top of that, keeping it nice and rich. Did a little bit of GK at all and KK at all and a little bit of RR at all, just to kind of keep it rich. And so I'm loving the effects of it. Still going in, building my baseline. I don't have a lot of work to do at this point, so I still need to clean it up. Still got to hit it all with a texturizer just a little bit. We're coming together. In a minute, when I get up to the top, I'll be going into her fringe area, kind of creating a nice curved fringe, bangy, for her to accentuate her beautiful eyes, gorgeous skin. So
that looks great on her skin tone already. I love it. Red's one of those shades. Some salons do them all the time, and some people are like, we just don't do that many reds. And it's usually because no one in the salon wears it. Mm-hmm. Red is one of those weird words like short. It's all relative, right? When you say red to a conservative person, they think stop sign, blood on cotton. There's Absolutely. 1,000 shades of red, right? Everyone can wear red. There's a shade for everyone. Get through that little strip.
Yes. Actually, I'm on the shallow side now.
Very
Same
good.
pattern, falling forward. Again, I just have to remember this is the shallow side, so you can see how my sectioning here, like on the other side, it was just over the Prada ridge. It's coming just to it here because I want all of that. I don't want anything to bend. I mean, if it's separated, that might be kind of cool looking, but it's a little risky. If the hair separates or she does something that could fan out and just kind of have an awkwardness, it could be too sheer. So I really want this all to fall and have that still a little more weight at the bottom. So I'm going just to the Prada ridge. On the other side, I came way above it up here because I really needed that because I have a lot of hair that's going to veil over that. So
I love even on this technique as well. It's like if I did it on the side and she parts over, the side that hangs over itself is going to kind of put its own lights out, right? So I better have a stronger signal under there if it's going to show. This side's the open side, and if I put too much, it's going to look like hoochie and cheap, and this side's going to look disappointing, right? So it's kind of finding that balance. I'm playing with that light source. So I've got the technique all put up and put to bed. It's all away from her face, so she should be able to read a magazine and talk on her cell phone and Facebook and all that stuff and take a proper selfie, as they all do. They love to. It's like, here's me in mid-process. It's like, okay. So I always try to make sure it looks good because you never know who's looking, right? And you look amazing. So I'm going to send Miss Caroline off if y'all will let her through there. And we'll get her process in a minute. And if y'all could send me Brittany, that'd be fantastic.
I'm getting started on Jessica's fringe. I'm just going from recession to recession here, or the outside of her eyebrows. beautiful smoky color, Robert. I'm just getting my parting set here. Her hair does have a lot of texture, like I stated before, so I am going to give her a little bit longer fringe here, just to kind of, whenever she blows it out or she wants to wear it curly, she can maybe swoop it off to the side or keep it really heavy and smooth and silky on the bang. Have you guys heard of that new word, bangry? Does anybody know what it means? Bangry?
Hangry is when you're so hungry you're mean.
You're mean. That's the salon term. And then the bangry is when the clients cut their bangs at home.
Right.
So let's not do that.
I think behind the chair had one of those things, those memes on Facebook that said, there's a hairdresser standing behind. It says, one of us is going to stop cutting your bangs. Which one's it going to be? You know? Casey, you got something?
I'm almost finished with this side. Then I'm going to drop the top, and I'm going to decide what to do it there. I haven't really decided.
I love that. I think that is the most honest and best approach to hairdressing. This is not paint by number. This is not a kit. It is not tab A into tab B. Totally letting the hair speak to you, letting the hair choose the tool and the color choice, and then doing the technique organically and letting it just speak to you and tell you what it needs. That just shows me that Casey has done this technique. She knows exactly what she's seeing in her mind, and she's going to let her hair just show it what needs to come next.
Yeah.
It's a great habit. It's awesome. I love to watch people just do that. That's art. You never, and the greatest thing in a class, and Casey knows this, is people always raise their hand and say, Casey, how are you going to retouch that? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're not. It's going to turn into something else.
Yeah, when
right?
she comes back in, we'll have grown. We would do something different. We might use the same tones, but I rarely, unless you have those people that never want to change anything, I rarely do the same color twice. I mean, if I have people that are coming in, I may have 30 formulas for the last 5 years, really.
That's
you can
awesome.
tweak one little thing, and they are just like, wow. I had a girl message me last night. She said, I don't know what you lowlighted me with this time, but I love it. And I was really worried because she's very conservative. She's a physician's wife. She has a position. She has children. You know, she just has, but I thought, you know what, I really want to lowlight her with one of Schwarzkopf's level 7 metallics. So it's a level 7 1, which is a blue, primary blue, and it has a slight copper reflex. And she messaged me, so I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love it. So you just tweak one little thing, and she's just in love with her hair again. You know what I mean?
So this is Brittany, and Brittany's one of those dream clients you would have that pretty much has worn and will wear anything, and you know she will rock it to the fullest. You could shave one side off, you could put a crazy extension in it, you could do it whatever, it could turn into like a Brillo pad, she'll rock it. And she's got the confidence to do that, and she's that other client that always needs that constant interest. If you don't have something new for her, she will get bored of you quickly. So when I met her today, I would say her hair was probably as normal looking as it's ever been. Would you say? It was gorgeous. It was like golden blonde, dimension, some high-low. There might have been some crazy colors that had faded away. And so I just thought, once again, to push the reset button, we just cleaned her canvas. I just tried to get as icy as I could. So we did a proper color maxing where we did 100% of the hair in foils, usually just in a quad pattern, or you might do 5 sections if the person's head was gigantic like mine. You might do 5 sections. It's like, hello, your head. Like width of the foil. And what you're basically doing is you're just putting 100% of the hair in the foil with lightener, close to the scalp, but not on the scalp, so you haven't made the scalp hangry, right? And so that way you have all that lightening time. You're using the foil not only for the heat, by keeping the product, because it's encapsulated, the product stays wet and alive. Remember, if the product dries, it stops. So it's like lifting up. You got a nice, clean, beautiful canvas, and once you achieve that, you just, cleanse that from the hair, and now you've just basically given her roots. Then you would just come in and do the retouch. The warm zone's your easy part, right? The warm zone's your friend. It's that old hair that's hard to mess with. So once you've cleaned all that, then you can just connect the dots. The retouch is very quick and easy. It's seamless, and then you can go in and choose your tone. So if we did that, we chose her tone. I did a classic, old school pastel glaze of 1 part 10V top sheet color, with 1 part distilled water and 1 part 20 volume. And that gives you a little bit of shift and gets the rest of that yellow out. We lifted her up to like stick butter yellow. I always say you want to get past country crock, right? Not margarine. We're trying to get to stick butter. And if you pass stick butter, it snaps off, right? So we want to get it to pale yellow. Then the tone choices are amazing. So I just picked 10V to get that nice Nordic blonde that she pulls off. She has a little warmth left through the end. And you know what that's called? Health.
Health.
Sometimes when people see warmth in the hair or a little bit left that glisten, that's not just ashy and about to snap off, it's called health. So what I'm going to do is slice in some shadow tones into this hair, and I'm going to use 3 shades. I'm going to play with a real smoky amethyst to be like kind of her low light. I've got a beautiful pastel pale violet pink that'll just be like a whisper that'll be like in the same, it's almost like 10V to the extreme. It'll be like even pinker. And then I've got one of our new shades, which is called 10BB, which is peachy, a peachy blonde. It looks like 1 teaspoon of orange sherbet stirred into a bowl of melted French vanilla. Can you get it? Like, ah. And so that's, when you put the violet next to the peach, it's going to be like, so it's like it's not a bruise. It's going to be like a delicious kind of thing. And I think the 10BB will make some of the warmth that's left behind make sense. And the violet will make it even cooler. And the smoky amethyst will give it like some pop. So I've got a section here. This is reminiscent of our collection this year from Color Zoom. It was called Reillusion. And the color techniques were all done with triangular shapes, which we call prisms. Have you ever been a kid and looked through a kaleidoscope? It's a bunch of little bits of paper, triangles, and cellophane. And as you tumble the cylinder, right, the triangles spill and fall over each other. Well, the head's a sphere, right? So if you put triangles on it, and the color's going to spill and fall over itself no matter how it turns. So I'm doing a point-down triangle because she's going to get a heavy fringe. And all those colors are going to dance right around her face. I'm going to do a couple on the sides like I did Caroline. And the back is just, this is our Lumen SB at 10. I just went ahead and just gilded it a little again. Another chance to tone it, make it super shiny. There's not going to be anything back here. It's all money zone. You with me? So I'll start slicing those in. I'm just going to work up from side and back. How you doing, Ash?
I'm doing really good. I'm getting ready to go off stage here and let Miss Candy Roth come up. But I'm just finishing up, just cross-checking with the razor. And I'm just going to go in at an angle here. And I'm just looking, kind of reading the hair, allowing it. She's very dense here. Even with all of the open texture, you see the hair all over the floor. We've got a lot of texture in there, but she has a lot of heaviness to it still. So I'm just going to go in with the tipping. And it will just kind of release a lot of that. Allows that hair to move a little bit more freely. Give it some texture and give it a little bit of play. Love how that color's kind of popping through there. Kind of my spin on the shine line. I don't know if you've all seen the shine line where, you kind of have a shadow, deep shadow, and then it's actually a different color in the middle, and then on the end you have that shadow color again, or even a different tone. So just kind of peeking through there. So I'll be finishing this off. And then I'm going to cut and make her smooth. We all like it smooth. We all like it smooth. Not slick to the head, but just smooth, right?
Because everybody likes their hair flat.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the smoky amethyst I was showing you. This is 10P, 10BA, and 8SB, equal parts. 1, 2, 3, colorants. It looks like gunmetal. Love it. Love it. These are the thermal foil papers that we love to use for lightning, for all color really, but it's great for Illumin and these colors so you can really see what you're doing because of the white background. They're actually reusable. One of the jokes we have in our salon for the new kids is on their first day to tell them, you need to wash these and lay them out on a beach towel to let them dry, and then restock them.
Cruel.
And they're like, really?
Really?
Let's do it. Both sides. We're not that mean. I'm kidding. Not that mean.
can see how Candace's hair is once I dropped it. She's making this real easy on me. I can see how her hair grows. I can see the growth pattern. I'm not having to guess once I get to that top section where I want that pink to fall. I probably don't want it to come up quite as high on every section. I may bring a couple up, but I mean, the way these highlights have grown out, I already have a little bit of a format right there for me. I can already see everything I need to see about her hair.
So Ashley spoke about our Illumin hair color, and the Illumin color does come in all the beautiful pure tones, which are amazing, and they're lots of fun. It's like a hairdresser's dream. But the reality of life is that the other shades, the deeps, the lights, and the brights, offer you way more opportunities in salon than the pure tones ever could, because the truth is, if you think about doing someone's retouch, doesn't the new hair always look beautiful and perfect? And even if you've been color balancing in the same shade and the shade is on target, have you ever flipped the mids and ends back to the root and looked at it? And they're the same color, but the quality is not the same. And if this is flatter and more typical, and this at the scalp is prettier and new and sparkly, it makes it almost look like a hot root, doesn't it? So you find yourself wanting to tone this down or thwart it. When really, in hairdresser utopia, if you could make the mids and ends look like the scalp hair, then you'd get the buzz, right? You're like, oh my God, that was all the way down. Are you kidding me? And honestly, Illumin is one of the only hair colors on the planet that can do that. It can make old hair mimic brand new hair. And that's why we love it on mids and ends. It's fun in dimension like this because the sky's the limit. It works on whatever level you put it on. So the colors themselves, I always wish we had sunglass lenses of all the shades so you could snap them in. If I did the crazy red, the RR at all, if I look at Pocahontas, you know, it's pretty. It's dark hair with a red glow. But if I look at Gwen Stefani, wow, you know, wow, it's red, you know. So it's whatever level you put it on. So on this hair, I've got this clean canvas. I can do anything right now. So I'm going with this really pastel pink. And this is AB at 9. SV at 10, silver violet level 10, mixed with a little bit of ash blonde at 9 that anchors it, and then just a couple of drops of our PK, the pink, pure tone, and you see this beautiful soft pink. And when you mix that into that violet-based blonde, you see where they're already kind of sisters. It's not like, you know, this doesn't look like a kid stuff. This is very like, you know, it's more sophisticated. And that's what, you know, kind of all the fashion stuff is going toward today. I haven't gone to the scalp. I've let it walk back a little bit, and I'm just stacking my thermal papers and just kind of walking these colors through. So I've got this triage. I'm just going ding dong dong, ding dong dong, whatever. What order? I don't even remember. It's art, right? It's not paid by numbers.
So you can see how pretty my girl looks already with all of her texture. I'm just going to switch out with Candy at this point, and then we'll bring her back at the end of the night so you guys can all see how she looks smooth. Thank you.
I love it already. Great job, Ashley.
Thank you.
Just play off of this, bring that chocolate down, and just hit these tips. I've been doing that, and I really think I'd like to see a little more of that because I'm going to come underneath again and color all this chocolate. It's going to give me just enough around the face. That's my goal here.
Miss Brittany, can you look up for me? See the peachy beige? It's not orange sherbet like you're expecting. It's just in that direction. You know, it's like, oh. And remember, when you put it on light hair or stressed hair, remember stressed hair always pulls the cool tones out of the soup. So even though you might do something you think, ooh, that is so gold, that is so orange, whatever, you'd be lucky if it turns out orange. On hollow hair, it's going to drink it, and some's going to be like a filler. And what you're going to be left with is a very beautiful shade. Very, very pastel, very easy to wear. Has anyone seen our collection this year called Reillusion? For those of you who aren't familiar with Goldwell, every year for the last 11 years, we have a collection every year, which obviously showcases our products. It's called the Color Zoom Project. And yes, it's a great forum to showcase our wonderful products, but really it's born from true data and lifestyle compilation that we work with to help hairdressers answer that age-old question when your clients sit down, what's in style? You're going to hear that your whole life. And so to help people forecast what's coming, the Color Zoom Project is that. So we do all kinds of research. And it's not just fashion and beauty, it's lifestyles, the way people live their lives. Fashion comes from the street, and I'm proud to say that in 11 years we have never been wrong. We have forecast at least 2 or 3 years ahead of the curve. So if you haven't seen it, explore it. If you go to colorzoom14.com, you can see you can see what the collection is all about. There's tutorials and there's all the how-tos to do the techniques similar to this one that are fun, keeps you totally inspired. But you can also see that globally, 30-something countries compete every year for the color challenge. And they interpret the collection with a beauty photo. And each country has 3 finalists in 3 categories, and they'll go to a global event. This year in October, everyone's going to go to Berlin, and they will compete in the 3 categories, and the grand winner will join the master team, and they design the collection for the next year. So it's really, really cool. So even if you're not a Goldwell person, check it out. There's lots to take from it. The techniques are amazing. The haircuts are strong. It's really colorzoom14.com or goldwellnorthamerica.com has all the links for you. So just check it out. It's just that constant thing. As hairdressers, we need constant sources of inspiration. We all have ADD, and you're at work one day and you're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And that's the one day that one lady asks for something new that's never got anything new in her whole life, the day you're not in the mood. You have to go step in the back and have a word with yourself. So I always keep an inspiration box of all the techniques and everything. I'm like, today everybody's getting this. Everyone is getting this today. And then next thing you know, you're cranking it out, and it turns out awesome, and you get your chill vibes back. You're like, I'm back. We got this. So just check it out. It's just amazing. Hi, Candy Nicole.
Hi, guys. How are y'all? I am well, first of all, I wanted to welcome all y'all to my salon. We opened 3 years ago. It's named Nicole Allen after me and my husband. It was way better than Jeff and Candy's. So, yeah. So, sounds a little better. So, we used our middle names. We opened here after my husband retired from the Army. So, we did 20 years, and then we retired and opened Nicole Allen. And we've just been moving on up since. We have a great staff, and today we have Robert Brown here and Casey from Chapman and Green, and we had a great day of learning this morning. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard. So we just had a really great day. And this is my model. She had great hair. So this morning, actually yesterday, I'm not going to fib. Yesterday morning, we went in, and she had a very light ombre. And we went back through and used Silk Lift and 30 volume. And I did a dry brush technique. I'm taking my master colorist through Goldwell. So I just learned from Miss Rebecca this technique where instead of doing this ratting, because she is my client and she does not like the ratting. Every time we get to the bowl, she does this little complaining thing when I'm trying to comb her out. And I will say, suck it up. But she does do this little complaining. But we did this dry brush technique where we went through, and when you put it on, you use 2 brushes. So one is to apply mid-shaft, and the other is to go through and use the dry brush, and you kind of meld it through. So it's a very cool technique. I had never used that before, but it completely does a seamless, like there's no lines anywhere. So it's a very cool technique to learn. Well, we did that, and we used a W sectioning. So her sectioning was through the back, and we went through the underneath, and we did a small W, so just underneath. And then we went through and did a larger W coming almost up to the crown. So that way, it was literally 4 foils on the bottom on each point of the W and 4 foils on the top on each point of the W, and they actually fan and lay on top of each other. So when the W goes on, so it's not all these foils going up our head. And then when we got to the front, we just did 4 foils. So it was the quickest little technique. And then when we got to her foundation color, we went through, and I'm the worst to remember numbers, so I got my little cheat sheet. And I had never used this little raking system, so I don't even know the proper term.
The color comb.
The color comb?
The color comb, it's like a clipper guard.
Yeah. I tried once, and it was like the worst little technique, but it was so bad. But it actually sections for you. So you can actually go through and it sections for you, and you squeeze that right out. So we did that at her root with, let's see, BG at 6. And then we went through with KB at 7. And then GB at 9 on her ends. And so it gave her this really warm glow. So I'm going to go through and start her cutting. So if y'all have any questions, just ask. It's called the Hollywood layer. So I'm just going to go through and layer it for the front so that she can wear it away from her face. So there's not very much layering through her back. Just because she has very sparse hair, it's very fine, and she likes to wear it curled and away from her face. And she pulls it back forward. So it's just a long layer, but most of the work is in the front. So like most women, they like to see it in the front, not really mess with so much in the back. So. And I'm using my razor, so.
How are you doing, Casey?
I'm doing great. I've got all my foils placed right where I want them. So all I'm doing now is going back in between the foils, and I'm using that really dark chocolate, and that scalp all the way down. This is where it's really important, guys, that your foils are tight. Because the advantage I have with her is that everything at the scalp is dark. If something slips, those are demi-colors, they're not going to swell or whatever. But if I were doing an ombre where I have some blondes up in there, or if that was, it would really matter. Those colors can cross-contaminate really easily, so my foils are secure.
So I've just about got Brittany's technique put to bed, if I don't snatch it out on accident. And once again, just trying to keep everything away from the face. And I was just playing with, her hair is so sheer. When I did that first prism, I could have done other triangles that connect with them and played with any kind of technique I wanted to, placement-wise. But I was just, I wanted to give her some really sexy, the colors around the faces. They're going to be very pastel. And I want to make sure, have you ever designed like a beautiful color story and then you put it in the hair and then you realize you pussyfooted? And you could hardly find any of them. You're like, what was all that about? It sounded like a good idea, but I just see 7G. You know, so you want to make sure that you've gotten representation of the shades, but without going crazy. But these techniques are so awesome, and when you see them, if you, like I said, if you go to the website and check them out, you will, once you've done a couple of prisms and seen this kaleidoscope effect, you'll never look back at the plans again. You'll learn how to just organically just plug them in. You have a base color going on. You've got time. Any other salon owners in here? Who are my salon owners besides me and Candy and Casey? I'm cheap, very cheap. And I'll have a girl's hair color on, and I'll walk down the line and I'll be like, Casey, what's in that bowl? And she's like, it's for, whatever. I'm like, can I have it? Like,
We do that too. We share color.
What do you think about some really cool violet lotion? And I love it. It's like nothing's going down the drain. I will work it on someone's head now.
That's awesome.
So nothing goes down the drain. So that's where some of the most serendipitous creativity comes from, right? Like making it work. Have you ever been out of a color and you get mad scientists in the back?
Oh, yeah.
And you actually like your version better? Like, awesome. Day of discovery, whatever. Those are all awesome. So
I'm just going through and just pulling it straight forward, kind of coming across almost diagonal with her nose. So keeping it right at her chin, so everything will actually be pulled straight forward by her nose. And just really keeping my fingers locked. So when you're doing this, just keeping my fingers locked and keeping it locked in, because you would hate to actually, my husband started doing with a razor, cutting with a razor, and he actually got 6 stitches on his first haircut. I know, and he had to go in, and we were doing a cutting class at Club Intrigue, and so it was his first cutting class, and it was with the Rojo. So he went in with Nick, and he had to wear like a little Michael Jackson glove. It's hot time. It's really hot time. So then when we got back to the salon, he was doing his client, and he was like, you should make that work. Just wear that little Michael Jackson glove all the time. Just get them different colors, kind of bedazzle them. So, but it was 6 stitches. So they're no joke. We just go and do our extra training with him. So we've been to New York, and we go up to Atlanta. So yeah.
Perfect. So I've got Miss Brittany. I'll put up with the beautiful thing about working on this type of hair is that it's pretty thirsty, right? So it almost works on contact. It's like, and rinse. No, I'm kidding. But I've got it all put to bed, and so I worked away from the face and then put it together this way. I could have stand in the front and do it, but that way I would have to fold it and keep down her face and all that moving around. Not my favorite thing. So I'm going to send Brittany off. When she comes back, we'll cut her a fringe. So it won't take long to process. I'm going to send her out. So right now, if I could have Jennifer, you can probably escape that way or that way. I don't need these anymore.
So I actually take a little bit of my other section from the other side. So you see me grab just a little bit of that other side and kind of pull it just a little bit so you don't end up with that little short piece. So grabbing it and kind of pulling it over just a little bit so you know where your guide is. Casey, what are you doing over there?
I'm just still going in between my foils, creating that chocolate base that gives me the continuity I'm looking for. And she'll process quickly because the demi-color processes in 15 minutes. That's the base, so it can sit on there longer if you're using it for other things, but once I get it on there, it don't have to sit very long.
You guys, this is Jennifer. And Jennifer was the rarest breed I've ever met because she was a hair color virgin who can't drive. No, she's, I was so awesome to meet such a healthy head of hair. She's like a natural level 6. It was about my color, maybe about, a little bit prettier than mine naturally, with a little bit of gray glimmer. She hadn't had any gray coverage or anything. So she was open to something new, and she's a good sport. And I did this entire technique with just hand painting. So hand painting doesn't always have to be ombre, right? It doesn't always have to go all the way dark into light or light into dark or whatever. It can just be done as a useful technique all over. So it was done entirely without foils. But a couple of tips for success that I have for you on ombres are, first off, it's very hard to just do this color and that color. If you're going to do this into bleach or whatever into bleach, it's always going to be, It's going to be very hard to make that graceful. If you add a third tone, it should trick the eye better, right? It should go ding, dong, dong, not it shouldn't hurt that bad. On Facebook, everybody posts pictures of their ombres, but they're always curled. And I always say, if you want to rock my world, flat iron it. If I can't find the seam, I will bow down. Are you with me? You know what I'm talking about? Like, they all look good curled. I want to see what it looks like straight. And then you can only really get that by using a third color, or it's really about finessing it through. So that's amazing. She's playing with very dark colors, so a whole different kind of story. But.
Well, the same scenario though. I'm still going through. I'm still veiling off and hitting those tips. I mean, I have 3 tones, but he's right. Were that to be a more drastic contrast, you would have to fade gradually. I really want that pop at the bottom, and it's going to be a deeper tone. Okay.
How you doing, Candy?
I'm doing pretty good. If you saw, I actually close my razor as I'm going through because, to section, because I have accidentally went like, and then you just step on that little sucker when you do that. But, we all make mistakes sometimes. It's just how you recover from that mistake when you do that. But I do suggest that you close it when you're doing big old sectioning. But I'm actually going to New York on August 9th through 15th to do my master razor with a Rojo. So that's going to be kind of fun. So
you're loving it.
I know.
You are the master razor.
Well, I don't think so yet, but
those are those niche kind of things that you can really build a business on. You get known for something. Oh, I heard you could do great short razor. I heard you could do this. That's how you build that business. What I was going to say about Jennifer's hair, on the ombre techniques where you back comb. Are we familiar with those, the back combing? That is not new. That was in the Milady textbook from 1963. We used to call it tipping.
Huh?
We would do like in
right.
sections where they would tease it, a little bleach on the tips in a foil ball, and she'd look like Hellraiser. Like Monster with the nails in their head. And they would start in coiffure, it made tips. We're doing the long version of it now. It's not a contest to make a rat's nest. It should be a panel. You put your comb in, push away. It should be about 33%. Put the comb in again, push away, 33%. And you should be left with about 33%. If it's too much hair left in your hand, the section's too thick. But once you put the foil or the paper and you do your color, make sure the color's not to the edge of the paper. And then when you close it up, take your tail comb and right then undo as much back combing as you can and push it down to the foil line before you move on. That's already halfway combed out. Then when you go, after processing, you go for the dismount, pull the foils, and then when you get it wet, do conditioner first. Go conditioner first and a wet brush, and you won't lock up. It's the suds that make it lock up. So get the tangles out the best you can. Then once the tangles are with a wet brush, then you can rinse and then start from scratch. Shampoo, cleanse, tone, whatever, and then it's like, whoo, that was way easier. But these freehand techniques that are not ombre, but they're just all hand painted, there's all kinds of ways to section it. But on Jennifer, what I did was I went in with a demi-color for gray coverage. I used 7 double N and 6 BP. I was kind of creating my own 6.5 and put that on her warm zone, and her hair so healthy and fine. I definitely got some shift off of it, and I got my gray coverage. And then, instead of just going that into lightener, I did that into my 12 series, like I just did on Caroline a second ago, but she was on natural hair, so it got quite light, and then feathered it into my lightener, my Silk Lift Strong. So it's seamless, it's overall, and it didn't even need toning. It wasn't, I think when we talk about using bleach and stuff on raw hair, people think it's going to be like, like 5, 7 scream, like, electric egg yolk or something. In real life, remember, without isolation, hair color can only lift so high. So you have to really work within the realm of what's possible on that canvas. And you're probably just going to get like 5, 6, 7, or 7, 8, 9 maybe. And then, of course, everything looks better with an overlay. But they joke about Southern girls liking big hair. Don't you get tired of that? I would just say it's like you have never worked in humidity like we do, right?
We love big hair.
I love big hair. First of all, there's nothing wrong with big hair, but the thing about it is, if you don't have a little volume in the morning, by 12 o'clock you look like you just changed a tire. So that, people who say that have never worked in humidity. So this technique for hot rollers, you're like, hot rollers? Most people are afraid of hot rollers because they're afraid they're going to get a pageant look. Right? They don't want to look like that bouffant. So what I do is I show the girls at home to hang upside down and brush your hair like a unicorn and put it in a ponytail right here, like Chrissy on Three's Company, if you're old enough. And then I just use a bender or an old 80s scrunchie. You can't use a rubber band because you're going to get a mark. Use the big fat bender or a scrunchie and put it here and then pull it apart and just hot roller this. And that way when you let it go, you'll just have curl on the bottom. So Jennifer, get you to hang your head over. We were talking today. Remember in the salon, we forget this because we're busy, but all of our clients are watching each other the whole time. And when a girl gets to throw her head over and wolf it back, every girl really wants to do it. They're like, I want to do that. I want to get wolfed. Wolf me. It's like the bend and snap, like I want to do it. Stay there 1 second. I'm going to use the new Naturally Full Go Wheel Style Sign product. If you're familiar with our Style Sign, this is like our Root Lifter Double Boost. Had a baby with the Magic Finish hairspray. You can use it like wet, dry, before hot rollers, whatever. It's a really, really just a finish hold of 3 from 3 to 5. And I'm just going to use it just to break it up just a little bit. You can see the color work underneath. No foils at all. See, I mean, it's awesome dimension.
Looks great.
She looks just amazing.
She was so nervous.
Pardon the expression, but throw up and back. Thank you. So what I love about this is that it gives you all the fullness and awesomeness of hot rollers, but she doesn't look like Tammy Wynette, and she won't have to wait for an hour for it to look good to leave the house. You know, so it's like, I'm going to wear one hot roller in my hair for 5 minutes and take it out and drive to work, and then I'll, you know. So with the fringe or whatever, her hair's amazing. And what a good sport. She didn't even flinch when she saw it. But to go from not having color at all to a level 6 to this in one step, no foils, pretty amazing. I'll turn you around and show you the... So you can see the halo of the light, but it's seamless. You can't really see that. It doesn't look like 1, 2, 3. It should just sort of trick your eye, right? And her hair curls, you know, quite easy. So you could show someone how to do that. I call it the pineapple because it looks like when they're all stacked, like, I got a pineapple on my head. Do the pineapple. It's one of those things like everything old is new again. You younger stylists don't realize, but in the 80s, we always had hot rollers on. Everybody got cut, blown dry, put the hot rollers in, she sits, the next girl gets washed, you cut it, you start to dry, you stop and woof. You woof her, she leaves, you come back, you know, like it was just, you know, it's just hot roller magic, and we did it all day long. So I said everything old is new again. You could do the same thing while that's up like that. You could just use the iron and ribbon it. You could use Velcro rollers for softer. You could use curling iron, barrel, whatever. It's just a great way. If the hair's too short and this is too, it doesn't give you enough, do a big zigzag parting and give her 2 pineapples or 3 or 4. Like think of like dots on a dice. Those could all be placements for your Lulus to roll. That way the hair travels, right? The hair traveled up, and that way you just get it at the bottom. So she could rock this, and then by the time she's ready to go out, it'll be perfect. She'll have body. It's great if you were doing an updo. You could put this up so easy. Oh. You know, just it's just like easy, easy. It's just ways to show clients ways to do their own hair so it always looks good, and they're not all. You look amazing. I have pictures of her before, so check me out. I'll show you. She was cute before. Now she's awesome. You look great. Thank you, lady. You can head back, and we'll get you back out here in a minute.
So I have a little trick. Some of us, you know, like when I first started, I had a hard time sectioning. That was like my biggest thing. Even with coloring, like sectioning sometimes is a beast. So one little trick is when you're sectioning down the back, even for like a bob or whatnot, if you lean the girl's head down or the guy's head down, you'll find their neck bone just on their spine. That is the middle of their head. So that's how you always know it's going to be even. So just find that, lean their head down, everybody will jut it out, and then just follow your finger down, and it'll be the middle of their head. So when I cut her head, or her hair, when I was sectioning forward, I leaned her head down, sectioned down the back, and I actually split it off, and I left the bottom down, and I only cut from the top. I left that out. So because her hair is just a little more sparse to the bottom, I didn't want to layer that part. So I always leave her hair kind of a little jagged on the bottom, just so it gets that feel of not too crisp. She likes it to be not so crisp on the bottom. So we have went through and we've cut all of her base, everything except the corners. So I don't like to leave the corners too like blunt off. So I always have my client kind of turn their head and then just lay it over a little bit. So we'll go and lay and comb through, and you just kind of touch in and just make sure that they kind of not really give a rounded edge, just kind of give like more of an oval edge. So just on these little bits of corners, I'll just kind of lay them around, almost like a dinner plate almost, you know, just kind of oval them off. So I haven't done this side yet, so let me kind of turn her and show you. So you're going to turn your head this way, hon. Let me turn my cape. So you can see where our layer was right here. I'm going to just touch in on this little corner. And that's all. So not really cutting, just taking off that little bitty corner. And then I'm going to go through and section and blow dry, and then show you how I use her wand just to give her that beachy kind of flow.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
I like that, just taking the corner off bit.
Yeah.
So when you did your ombre, you said you overlaid that with all those aluminum shades, right? That's a total example of how the aluminum can like totally gild the lily on whatever's next. Let's see, we've got some girls here. Does anybody have any questions so far, or concerns, ideas, things you'd like to share? There was no backcombing on Jennifer. So what I do is, there's 1,000 ways that you could separate it and section it off, but whatever way you start out, you have to finish out. So whatever thickness you start with, whatever sectioning you start with. So let's just say we divided the head from the nape up like lasagna, right? Just row after row after row. So if I started in the very nape where I drop the section down, I might have like maybe 3 sections, right? Like 3 pieces. And I would just take it and you pull it down and you gather the section. It'll be wide and you pull it to a point. So it looks like on a backgammon board. You know what I'm talking about? Like those points. I hold it down tight. She had her color-ons in at the scalp, squished down a little bit. I took the 12 series, and you just paint the sides of the where you're pulling it down. I paint the sides and walk it down. Then about the 2/3 down, lay it over your gloved hand and do the lightener from there down. And you could use the back of your hand to paint on your hand to really force it in. So at the top where you've painted the color on, it's not through the back side, so there's no worry about a bleed mark. So it's going to go light, juicy, totally juicy. Hang. Are you with me? You're going to do la la la, a little bit more, and okay? So you're going to do that. So you'll have 3 pieces hanging down, right? Like 1, 2, 3. You take the row above it, and then you're going to put them in the spaces, right? So the one above it would have 4 pieces that would hang in the spaces. Pull tight. 12 series down into the lightener on the back of your hand. Juice it. And you're going to walk up, up, and up until you get it all the way around. And I worked my way up, 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 and then pretty soon when you get higher, it'll come all the way around, right? You can keep doing that. Just make sure your rhythm and your sections are all about the same, and it'll make sense. You can't do one row of little tiny ones and then a big wad of like 4 honking ones and expect to not have, you know, something strange, right? It needs to all be about the same. So as you get higher and higher, it'll start coming up, and it usually comes up, and it'll be like you've left a football on top. And the football could be the lid that spills over if you wanted to keep it solid. It would have kind of an ombre look to it. Or you could keep going up and just keep ridging around, and you're just to divide it into like pie sections, and you'll be able to do the same thing. That's how I did on Jennifer. Now, Jennifer had that fringe, right? She already had her bangs cut when I met her. So the trick is, like on an ombre, if it was an ombre darkened to light, would the fringe get color? If she was dark into light, would these get light? She'd be part of the dark, right? So some people might just leave them. But I was trying to give her that like kind of honey glow around the face. So I made sure I painted up a little bit higher with the lightener to face framer. And then in the fringe, I went ahead and cheated, and I did throw a few foils in. And the one underneath, I did the 12 series into the bleach, into the lightener. And the one above it, I did the 12 series a little bit further down into less bleach. And the next one on top of it was just 12 series. And then the one on top of it was brown. So when it all falls over, the light is kind of burning through it. It's kind of like curtain. It's just fabric on top of fabric, right? Kind of dancing through. And then you get that effect. And so the grow out on it should be really, really nice. You know, so in that case, I was using the foil just to keep it from, you didn't want to take a chance on a bleed mark right in the bangs, right? So that's why you would isolation for that. So, and it also helps you catch up, because I did that last, and by encapsulating those, right? What's that, Candy?
It was a holiday, not a bleed mark. It's just a holiday.
Yeah, well, the holidays when you forgot a place, right? Like, oops, ran out of color. A bleed mark's like, girl, were you on your phone? I don't know what brand you guys use, but in Goldwell, we have the low lighting in the colorants. And if you ever get a bleed mark, I can mix one little drop of like 6-7 neutral or 7-8 neutral. And if you're at the shampoo bowl and you see it, you're like, but you don't say anything because they might freak, right? They might be weirdo. So I just come back to the bowl from, whatever, and I might so I go ahead and mix it and let it oxidize and turn brown in the bowl. And then when I'm working, I'll do my cut and I'll start to blow it dry, and then I'll just stick my finger in it very cleverly, and I'll just tap it on that hot spot, and they're like, what's that? I'm like, oh, what? Like, what did you just, it's like, oh, there was a piece that was kind of bright for me, I didn't like it. And they're like, oh. And then you just blow dry it and leave it in. And it goes away instant. It's like, and done, touch. And then, because if you say, oh, there's a hot spot, they're like, what? And it's like, it ain't another thing, just, I'm going to try them out. Usually it's their fault anyway. That's why I was doing the foils from behind, trying to keep, just trying to put it to bed, working from the bottom up, put it to bed, so that they can't shift anymore, right? So they won't, whatever. So, but the ombre techniques, I don't know about you guys. Are you sick of them? Are you loving them? Where are you with it? What happens in the South, I'm from Memphis, and I opened my salon 26 years ago. It's called Hair Robert. If you're on Facebook, please add me. My name is so common. It's Robert Brown, but if you look for me, if you type in Hair Robert at AOL.com, it's spelled Hair Obert. There's one R. It's like Hair Obert. Okay, so join me, and like I said, we'll be friends. But I lost my train of thought because we were talking about this, whatever, on the ombres. But what happens is, they allegedly say fashion comes from the coast, right? L.A., the celebrities, New York, Miami. And then by the time it comes into the heartland and kind of reaches the middle, by the time Southerners and mid-Southerner and Westerners get the memo, some people think it's tired. I remember showing my clients pictures of ombres 3 or 4 years ago, and the girls were like, that's skank. She's skank. I'm like, it's really cool. Oh, she's got her roots done. I'm like, now, 4 years later, the same girl, can I do this? It's like, oh, I wish I had like videotape of the day I tried to show them that years ago. So remember, if it's new to them, it's new. It's only, if you haven't done it yet, it's new. So enjoy it. But our rule in our salon, and maybe you will like this, is that if anyone in our salon is going to do an ombre, it has to look expensive. There's too many nasty ones on YouTube with girls showing you how to do it at home. Everything in our salon, it's like it has to look expensive. Do that extra step, add that third color, trick it in, and make it look like it was finessed in by a pro. And that will set you apart from everybody else. If you're like, let's say, if you've ever done like the girl's blonde already, or you've created the light pieces, and you want to go in and put the fun colors in, like yours. Your color is beautiful because I see it change its tone and it gets into another tone. It's not just this and that. And that's the great version. So when you do it, if you're going to do a primary color or something darker and richer than on a hollow blonde canvas, introduce the color where you enter the section with like clear. So if I was doing Goldwell color-ons, I was going to do a shade like that amethyst color I did, I would do clear above it and do the clear into the amethyst and let it kind of shear itself in before it goes strong. If I was using a lumen, I would use a lumen clear or a lighter shade above it, and I would go into the pure tone. If I was using a permanent color, I might use a lighter version of it, or I might add water to it to shear it out and have it go in so it tricks your eye so it goes light into sheer into true. Instead of just like, ooh, you know? I always compare those, I always see the little old ladies in the casino that have real bright red lipstick on. It's bleeding into their, it's like, oh. That's what, you're like, oh. And that's what color looks like sometimes, right? It's like, ooh, bleed. Or like, that doesn't, no. It should just kind of it should just like trick your eye like, oh my God, wow. And that's when it looks the best. So good and bad versions of everything. What I love the most about getting together like this in a forum is that we can share techniques and ideas and factoids and formulations all day long, but you can't teach taste. Right? Mine's not better than yours or vice versa. We can influence each other's taste, but you can't teach it. You can't give it away. And you're an advocate for your client. I'm an advocate for mine. We're out there looking for the best things for our people, things that turn us on, that we know we can turn them on, what they'll like. I would hate to go to a doctor or a dentist that hadn't been to a class in a while. Would that not be horrifying?
It'd be a little scary.
It would be a little scary.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are. So just the fact that you guys came tonight and that you are with us, that speaks volumes about the kind of hairdresser you are. Do you know how many hairdressers in the world right now are not at a class? Scary. There's a lot of people that haven't been to a class in 100 years. So at Goldwell, we love education. We have 4 academies in North America. We have Santa Monica and our new location in New York City, as well as 2 Canadian facilities in Toronto and in Vancouver. So all of our schedules are online. If you go to GoWellNorthAmerica.com, those are all there. If you Facebook me, I'll help you with anything. I keep my Facebook on at work all day, and I go in the back and do a message line. It's like, I want a formula for Kelly Osbourne. It's like, okay. If I can help you, I'll help you. I'm just regular Joe stylist behind the chair every day, but I get to do this and get to get up there and meet, awesome stylists like yourself that still love it and crave it. Do you still get chill bumps once in a while from it? Do you still love it? It's like if you don't get that rush anymore, you got to find something to help you get it. I'm a color nerd. I'll walk over there and when you're open a foil and you're like, got what I wanted. Like instead of counting sheep, I'll pretend I'm putting all the colors on my own hair. Like, what would that color look like in my hair? With 40 volume, with 30 volume, with 20, like just whatever. If you just keep your mind in the game, you'll get great ideas. What's so fantastic about Candy and Jeff opening their salon like this for us and getting together is, I know so many hairdressers that they have like their secret formulas they would never tell you. They would never share their recipe. But if you share one, if you share your recipes, 40 more will come to you. Mm-hmm. And the way those recipes that you think are secret to you, those are for those ladies you do it on. They don't work the same on every lady. You're not really giving away anything proprietary. If you share the info, you will get the info. And it's the same thing as just like, when you share the love, it comes back. And like I said, there's enough on the planet for all of us to do. So I hope that you guys can still fall in love with doing this every day, especially for, I'm, 50 years old now. I got my license when I was 17. And when you went to beauty school, did you know you were going to be good? Did you know? I mean, for girls, you might like do your friend's hair and all that. For the guys, did you know? It was one of those things, like I went to beauty school and it was kind of easy. And they kept freaking me out there. It was kind of easy for me. I kind of liked it, you know? We talked about this today, too, but I think the gentlemen in here will agree, but I give total kudos to female hairdressers. Because boy hairdressers have it so easy with women.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
No, not
But
at
it's
all.
like it doesn't matter what kind of guy hairdresser you are, as quiet or as flamboyant as you are, girls do it whatever we say. You can say, girl, you would look so hot like this. Like, really? Okay. You know? And women, you have that whole woman thing, like, I don't trust you. What do you won't make me look as good as you, I bet. And they do that whole thing. Once you get a woman to trust you, I'm sure it's a bond you have forever. But at the beginning, it's way harder for females. So I totally, like, you know, bow down. Bow down. So, you know, does everybody in your salon, do you have a color buddy in the salon? Someone who speaks your language and understands it about your level, and you can run something up their flagpole? Does everybody have that? Because I've worked in salons when I was younger where I didn't have that. So I had to pick the person I thought was the worst. I'd be like, girl, so what would you do with this lady? And then as soon as she says to me, like, note to self, don't do it. Not that one, you know. So hopefully you're not in that situation, but hopefully everybody has a color buddy and some resources and some things that turn you on. The Intrigue Salon in Atlanta and Jeff that started this Club Intrigue thing, this is brilliant. Hopefully this will be like a little match we start tonight, a fuse, and it will burn and it will go to other salons. Maybe your salon could have something. Maybe you have a friend that's in a hairdresser in another part of the country you can tell them about, like, y'all should do this. It's very, very, very cool what we're doing here. Young people today are all about podcasts, webcasts, Instagram, put it on. You get lost in the shuffle if you don't get on board with it, right? Right now, Facebook is still free. So it's the one thing as hairdressers we can keep doing, that simple thing like, girl, did you check in? Did you check in here? Did you guys all check in here tonight? You don't realize it, but it trends. The more people check in, they're like, wow, a lot of people are at Nicole Allen tonight. It'll start popping up, right? That's how it works. It's like when you go on Amazon, you know, you buy like a barbecue grill. It's like people who bought barbecue grills also bought. That's how Facebook works. It's like people who went to Nicole Allen also, and it all starts pulling. So work it like crazy. At all the hair shows now, all the business seminars are always going to be about the importance of social networking and marketing and all that stuff. So let's do it. Oh, cool. I've got Caroline coming on back. Who's joining us across the street after this? It's a school night, is it not? Don't be afraid. Huh? Yeah.
Pre-models.
He should. He's got it.
Okay, how's that? Is that better? Okay, this is one of our pre-models. This is our daughter, Sailor. Sailor's really easy. She likes that platinum look. She normally wears her hair shaved down with a 2 or 3 guard. No joke, and we just keep it. So she's trying to let her hair grow, and we're trying to help her do that. She's a level 8 natural, you know, just a natural level 8. I lifted her with Agora Vario Blonde Plus Extra with 20 volume. Can lift level 8 pretty easily. However, she has mild eczema of the scalp, so I can't leave it on very long. So sometimes I still get a hint of that butter in there, you know, so I have to play off of that. What I toned her with is Agora Royale. It's called 9.5-22. It is a double blue. It is called Sky Blue. It's really a little silvery, obviously, but this is what we're going for. So
I love it.
Now Larry's going to talk about the haircut.
Hey y'all, how are you? Just out of curiosity, how many are from Dothan? How many are from Dothan? Wow, that's amazing. I want to thank Candy and Jeff for just asking Casey and myself and our salon to do this. And we don't do it a whole lot. You know, we don't get together a whole lot around here. We don't really know, you know, our hairdressers don't really hang out. So it's really nice. Like she said, this is my daughter. 2 months ago, she had probably none. Yeah, she's right. She had no hair. She shaved her head. So she's growing it out, and kind of went back to trying to figure out what we could do to have a nice style. It was a little longer, probably about half here. So we went to the Dow Sassoon book and picked out just a style. And this is a short graduation. And then what we have going on here, we just clean up around the ears, take section, cut horizontally, then kind of diagonal all the way across, all the way through the bottom, and same way on the other side. Scissor over comb. Scissor over comb comes last. The necklines are probably my favorite, and I can take probably 35, 40 minutes on just a neckline. I mean, I love necklines. It's just kind of like my signature thing. Once I get to really the corner of the head, I'll point cut the top, then blend in the sides. And that's pretty much it. And from here, she can kind of grow it out if she wants to.
I don't think she wants to.
That's her. Okay. This is Sarah.
Sarah, look down real quick. See how she still has a little bit of that slightly different tone at the scalp, but it plays so pretty. I mean, there's a nice dimension. You get that little frosty tip, and that's still very, very cool at the scalp, but they just play well off one another. I mean, I just did a 9.5-22 with a 20 volume all over and let it sit, so it just works.
I think it's beautiful. Well, with a face like that, who needs hair? I mean, look adorable. Good genes. Good genes.
Okay, and this is our beautiful model, Beth, also a wonderful client of ours. Fun hair. She always wants fun hair. She works in a bank, I mean, but whatever, they are so over it. She's going to have this hair. What I did on Beth's base, she is about a natural level 6, so you guys can see the back here. I took a level 5.1, which in Schwarzkopf, it's 5.1, it's the permanent color. That's still a smoky blue base. And I intermixed with that one of the concentrates, one of our, I'm trying to think of what you guys call that in Goldwell, like a pure tone or
Mixes.
whatever. Yeah, it's a mixer. So it is, I did the 0.89, which is red violet. So it's a 20 volume that just lifts her base. It lets me create a really cool but still very deep kind of a violet-y tone. My goal here was to have this hair color look iridescent, like feathers, peacock feathers, bird feathers, anything that you can think of. The whole purpose in the way we do color, especially when we're doing lots of dimension, is you want the hair color to look believable. You really want to look at her and think, I really think that grew out of the head that way. So you don't, there's just a lot of blending, a lot of, isn't that fantastic, y'all? Okay, the highlight is I just love it because, you don't have many clients you can do this on, so when you get to do it, it's just so much fun. I just went in with little tiny foils and just sliced in some L89. That's what I put on my other model, except I intermixed that with a dark, dark purple. But you can see now on those tips how fuchsia that really is. And then that's a L89, which is, again, the red violet, high lift, high ammonia. Did that with a 30 volume. And then the color laying right next to it is a L77, which is a double copper. Again, high lift, you get a lot of pop, a lot of vibrancy. And then I came back in between those foils and used a 689 excuse me, yeah, 689 Viviance. Again, that's the demi color, which is a level 6 deep red violet. So you just get to see how all the different tones of red violets and coppers play off one another. That was the whole goal with Beth. So there you can explain the cut.
Yeah, hold on. And again, the neckline. I always try to play off their hairline. Very rarely do I use clippers. Always scissor over comb, and then clean up really nicely around the edges. On her haircut, actually I started here, cleaned up just around the edge, then took diagonal sections all the way around. All the way around. Never came back this way. So it leaves a little, kind of a corner tang, a little softness on one side, like an asymmetric neckline. And as this is, while I'm doing this is kind of drying off. So then I switch gears, grab my razor, and as it's drying off, I'm just going through, looking at the movement, looking at the weight, taking out what really doesn't fit. Here, just love a short, nice piece where the eyes are. This is Beth. Very nice.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Very, very pretty. Very pretty.
That's beautiful stuff. I love to look at all that. I always want to go through it and look at all the
I know.
pieces.
So pretty.
How you doing, Candy?
Good. I am using my wand, and I don't like things to look too perfect. I think that's where we get so caught up in these wands. We have to make everything look so perfect. And I went and helped out backstage with Nick and his team in Orlando, which was like awesome. I wore heels, which was not so good. I wanted to walk barefoot like Alabama back to my room, which was not so cute, but well. But I learned that if you curl with the wand and then afterwards grab it and hold it and kind of mess it up, it gives this kind of unconnected, messy texture. So it looks really cute, and it kind of lays a little bit more rough, like a rough kind of texture, instead of laying so perfect. And I think that's what we have to teach our clients sometimes. They think that every curl has to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be so perfect. Just like our haircuts. I mean, we're not going to make every haircut perfect. So, I mean, you just have to teach them that, flat iron stick straight is not going to be, there. So
I think today on modernsalon.com they had Mila Kunis showing how to get her, beach waves or whatever. It's like, I was reading this long article, and it was like 3 steps. Scrunch it and do it. And I was like, okay. But then nothing in nature is perfect, right? When it gets like that, that's when it looks fake. That's why I was adding 3 colors, so it's not dun, 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 like whatever. I think that's amazing. On Caroline, can you see the soft dimension we got around her face? I wasn't trying to get like hoochie stripes or anything, but can you see that? It's beautiful. And these are the kind of images when people come in the salon, they'll bring you a picture, and the picture looks very blonde around the face. We got to remember, those are flash photos. So in real life, it's not that blonde. Jennifer Aniston is not that blonde. I actually have seen her in real life. It's not that blonde. So a little tip for success you can try in the salon that we do with the Goldwell tableau is if a client brings a picture in, I'll go pull the shades that I think represent what they're liking, and I'll bring them back on the little color story card that you can build separately on the white, and I'll show them, and most people say, that's too dark. Take your cell phone out with the flash on, and take a picture of the swatches with the flash and pop it, and then show them your phone, and it probably matches the image perfectly. It's like, see? So if you matched what the picture looks like, it would be so hollow and light, it probably wouldn't look right anyway. Does that make sense? It's a good thing to, we can't see through each other's eyes. If someone says it's red or whatever, I don't even argue anymore. It's like if they say, if it's red, it's red. But on Caroline, what I was just doing, she had grown her bangs out. She said she had a fringe, but she's got this strong, sexy, at least it's off-center, this sexy cowlick that kind of like frames her face like a heart. And it's kind of foxy. It's like, oh. So I was just doing what kind of a scissor version of what Candy was doing on that Hollywood layer. I was just coming back here. Remember the dynamic that hair moves from short to long, right? If I stand in front like this and I slide cut it around the face, I'll make it circular, right, like a horseshoe. And that could be all sexy, but it won't be chunky and it won't be like very Victoria's Secret-y. But if I stand on this side and I pull it around like a cobra, right? You can picture that, like a cobra, like this way. And I hold it out, and I cut from behind, and I cut from short to long to the front, short to long, and I cut those shark bites out of whatever you want to call those. When I drop it, I'll get that sexy stuff that's very Victoria's Secret-y and looks kind of messy. And it's like, jag, 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 jag. You know, do they like anime? Do you like the way they draw hair like in video games and stuff? It's just a normal haircut with the notches taken out. So anytime someone's haircut looks too like mama or something, like, ooh, you know, whatever, go in there and cut some triangles out of it and see what happens. You'll let it breathe. You'll open it up a little bit. I think Caroline looks amazing. She doesn't look like a gray-haired woman now across the parking lot. It's like chocolatey and delicious. And it's summertime. So I was talking about, like, what will it turn into? Well, if I think she tells me she's going to Panama City for 2 weeks, should I expect it to come back this shade? You know, all hair color fades. One of the beautiful things about Goldwell hair color is that it fades on tone. So I send a girl to the beach with 7 kg. For me to think she's going to come back like a 7 is that's very not wise, right? She's probably going to be 8 kg or 8K or maybe even 8G. But at least it's going to be a sister friend. And it's going to evolve into something else. Well, I think hair color fading is a gift. What would you do if every time you did someone's color it never faded? And every time it came in you had a line you had to deal with every time, a stripe, like Sharpie. Wouldn't that be horrible? I mean, the fact that the color shifts a little bit, and being in the South, we actually have 4 seasons, sort of. We have 2 short ones, but, you know, we've kind of got 4 seasons, and so you can play with that. So, like, I probably write fewer formulas down today than I ever had in my life. And it's not because I'm Mr. Smarty Pants with photographic memory. It's because what I did on her hair last time has nothing to do with what it is today. If it was a tricky one to get to, maybe I would do that. But really, it's like, what does she come in today? It's a whole new day. I might know my target look color, but what I did last time has really nothing to do with it. I think you look amazing. Caroline's hair stays wet for days. So for hair that's still pretty wet, I think that's pretty foxy. So maybe by the time at Buffalo Wild Wings, she'll have dry and we can go through it. But I think that's beautiful. And see, I mean, does it look stripy or weird to you? Does it look does it look Kelly Clarkson-y or cat scratch? Can you see the storm I was talking about? Now that was like that 12 series. That's 12 series on tint, so it's totally safe. But on tinted hair, what choices do you have? Color won't lift color, right? So if you're not going to use lightener, what other choice do you have? 12 series is my go-to. It makes that intermediate color that'll help me walk tinted hair into a mid-tone into light. That's what I do. So try that. Sometimes you'll love it. That's beautiful, lady. Ta-da! Thank you, lady. You can tip it that way. Let's see, Candy.
So we went through and we curled her, and then I used our refinish. I don't know if y'all have ever tried it. It's our #1 seller. It is our dry shampoo, and it's actually colorless. So you can spray it on our black cape, and that's what I always used to sell it. Because so many people go through and they try to use dry shampoo, and they have dark hair, and they'll put it, and it'll be like white powder right on their scalp. So it's like a hot time. And they always do it, and it's right in their bangs, because, you know, that's the part that's the most oily. So it's right in their bangs, and it's like, and they have this white big dust. So it's like dusty, and you'll see them like patting the front of their hair, trying to get that powder out. But it's like horrible. But this is like the best stuff. So she can get this volume in her hair. And I even like to use it on my curly hair when it's wet. It's the best little go through while it's wet, and I'll just spray it through, and it gives that texture, that messy texture. So that's what I use all the time. And we sell the mess out of this stuff. We're always ordering this from Maroja. I even have a girl that goes to college that'll buy like 10 of these at one time every time she comes back. So, because she uses it all the time. It's just a good little go-to. So you're cutting some major fringe on her.
Yeah, she's cool. She let me keep them long so I'd have something to hold on to. And you can see those tones are all real subtle, and they all just kind of work together and soft on that hair. But it just really kind of helps blend it into what she had and into what we did. So what I was going to show you, she's so cool. She could definitely pull off a strong fringe like a China doll. She could do a rounded fringe. She could do a notchy, crazy, like, W fringe and all that. I was going to show you a little something to do on the side here.
We're going to step off and we'll come back in just a second. Robert.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
A little blonder. I can just work with that. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to feel the hair or anything because it's a deep enough tone, although it shows up a little lighter through there. And then through the back, it's just a little more violet. You see all the chocolate blends in with that. Then you've got some of your level 1 right here that kind of shows up right next to that color. This lets Candace still be professional, but have a really, really fun color. So that's her. And then Larry can talk about her cut.
Candace is, we always do hers dry. We take probably quarter-inch sections, starting at the bottom, work our way up. Once we get to probably at occipital bone, that's when I start layering. I layer, I call it peaks and valleys, so I'll cut a peak. That way when it lays, you never have steps or anything. It's very soft. Even when you saw it straight, when she was here, it was very, very blended. Didn't see lines or anything. So that's pretty much how it's done. Just a lot of layers, peaks, valleys. That's it.
What's that? Oh, me? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're back with my model, Jessica. And you can see how I went in with the W, parting on M, everything. And so it's just a little bit where that sun is going to naturally hit the hair around the head. Normally,
Got ahead of myself. So I went in with this W pattern right across the middle here. So that's where we got our slices, and I just kind of sliced here and going back and forth just strategically. I have the 7KR with KK mix. It's just our add-on to kind of push that color, drive that color in. And we sandwiched it on top and on bottom of a 6RR Max. And then our background color was 6RO and 7RR. I'm sorry, I apologize. That was 6RR and 7RO. And we just we build our color from the bottom. So it's just like building a house. You start with the foundation, then you go and build in your accents, and then you finish it off. I'm leaving the client very nice and beautiful. See all this vibrant red. She's not stained at all. And across the front here is where I was talking about that kind of shine line that I wanted to place into the hair. It's not something that is considered the regular shine line where you have the shadow at the new growth and then in the middle. I just placed some slices across here, and I just tapped in my base just to kind of keep it from looking so stripy here. So anywhere you move it, she's going to have some glitz and glamour. And then
Beautiful.
Also with the haircut, see how we have a lot of stack in the back, and we had to leave a lot of weight, remembering that she is a textured canvas. So whenever we go back, we don't want little pieces of curls. We want to see that hair very nice and full. And so I think we really achieved a nice look for her.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I think, like, I think you'll notice, like, you know, if you're ever doing a makeover, if you got asked to be on TV to do something or do something in front of everybody, razor cutting is awesome because you get so much texture right now. You know, sometimes with people with thicker canvases, they don't like their hair fresh cut. So we're constantly trying to make it look like it's worn in a little bit. When you have fine hair loves a fresh edge. So I was going to show you a couple of things from our collection this year with Color Zoom. My takeaway from it is that fringes are great because hairs are like lines, right? They're like, look at my eyes, look at my eyes. But instead of doing like a China doll with the corner or cutting it round around the face, something fun to try is to sneak the fringe is cut here right to the void, right? Let's pump her up. Oh, I think we're at limit. Could you stand up? There she is. So what I was going to show is if here, sit down so I can reach you. Like a teacup poodle on a okay. Right here, that's the classic division where the fringe would classically be cut to the void, right? But if I just sneak some of this past it, I'm not getting into the hairline. I'm not going right here. But if I just cheat a little bit further back than normal, and I held this section, I make sure below it is totally intact, and I can use my color board, and there's the fringe right there. I can cheat this and cut almost like a little bit of a weight line that goes over just a little bit, because this year, you look in fashion, we call it the year of the ear. Everything should look good down or look really cute behind the ear. And if you cheat that back a little bit, then the fringe walks back a little bit, and you can make it look like it's a really short haircut. Does that make sense? So you can play with that. It's almost like creating like a baby weight line just where the fringe line would be. So you could wait and do your fringe so the client has confidence, and she's loving it. State board. State board. And then just comb this over, and you could even use your clipper right here. You could use your trimmer. And you could just, like that. And I think that looks foxy because when she pushes it back, it looks like it's really short. Just don't get into the hairline and call me that thing you showed me freaked somebody out. I cut right into her. You know, so it works on all kinds of hair. But see, there's the classic break right there, like you'd cut a little girl. And I'm going to sneak behind it. Make sure you don't include that. Just go a little bit further back. Do the color board. I'm cutting from short to long, so I'm going to go backwards this way, right? You could play with that. Could you see you could do any line you wanted? Now, on that fine blonde canvas, can you see how delicate those colors are? I know I can do those hoochie big color panels. It turns me on more to kind of play with like that delicate. It's like, oh my God, there's so much going on. I love when girls text me after they get their hair done. It's like, I'm sitting Indian style in my bathroom looking in the mirror. Look at all these colors. I was like, I told you they were. But anyways, this is a beautiful girl, so she could do anything. But putting a little bit of that peach in there kind of helps marry the fact that some of her other color didn't get as pastel. But 2 days at the beach, done, right? What's the durability on these pastel colors? Huh? Not long. Exactly, and that's why they're fun. Says you can do all the kinds, all the times you want. So these kind of clients are fun because you just clean their canvas. And it's like, what flavor you want today? I got a million of them, you know, and that's where all the fun comes. So these are the clients you crave, right? For the stylists that are like me and you're getting older, you got to get some fresh blood in those seats. If you keep aging with your clients, you're going to get stale, and eventually all your clients will die. And they'll kill you, and they'll kill you on their way out. So, so just try to get those young ones in. If you have to give somebody a deal, to get them in the chair with you, give them a deal. You know, place that one girl at a place like one of the girls that works at Starbucks, or a girl that works in an office that's popular. All you need is that one feeder girl. That's a tip for the new stylist. You get that one girl in that right office that all the girls look to for fashion tips, and you're done. You're cake. That's how you do it. You look wicked, girl. Love it. So we all coming back out? Oh, here comes the raffle. You'll get a chance to meet Brittany in a little while. Let me get out of your way.
Now all the good stuff starts happening.
Yeah. Here you go.
I hope everybody learned something today.
Yeah.
All right. The one thing I'm always interested, who thinks they came the farthest? Who drove the farthest to come tonight? Where are we coming from? Valley. All right. Anybody can beat Valley?
It was hard.
Columbus. Rick. Anybody beat Columbus? Where are we at? Columbus? All right. All right.
Where you come from?
You speak a little louder. There's some stuff for you. All right. So we're going to do a quick little drawing. We're lucky enough, Chris Daniels and John Lugie of Cosmoprof and BSG donated 3 wands for us to raffle out tonight. So we do appreciate. Cosmoprof did a lot of helping us getting to spread the word out all around the area. So we do appreciate it, Chris, getting and John donating, appreciating all this stuff. So Jen's going to draw the first one. Madison Sapp. Come on up. We got to get pictures. All right. Who we got?
Chelsea McKinney. Bradley.
All right. Now, I do want to ask all the Nicole Allen team to come on up. Just wanted to come on up. I know you guys have been sitting around. They've done a lot of work the last couple months. We've been, spreading the word, getting all these models and stuff set up. So I just wanted to have them a chance to get up. You've probably seen them floating around. But we got Anne-Marie Jones. Her name's Ashley. But we've got two Ashleys in the salon, so she goes by Anne-Marie, so we don't double book. We got Michaela. We got Jen. Jen's one of our stylists. She is one of the originals. When we opened up, her and Candy were our 2 first stylists here at the salon. Amelia just started with us. She's just finishing up her semester up at Wallace. And we have Rachel, who just finished school over at Wallace and has been with us for, about, a month or so now? All right. And then you've already met Candy and Ashley. So you'll see more of them tonight. So I appreciate all the work you guys have done this week. All right. All right.
She did all my hard stuff behind the scenes. She's from Tennessee like me.
Yeah.
We are happy to be here in Dothan, Alabama.
That's right. New South.
All right. Now, if I can get all the stylists and the models to come on, bring them on back up. Get a good little lineup of everybody.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Just kind of.
This together, scooch you on down. Over here.
I'm hooked.
Scooch you on down. Scooch you on down. Sorry, babe.
Squeeze on in there.
Yes.
Squeeze on in.
Oh,
I'll go down here with Candy.
so good.
But I mean, you could look. Just a great show of different styles of color and cutting out there. It's just beautiful looking models, and we do appreciate it. We do appreciate having the great Robert Brown come in with us from Goldwell. We appreciate it. We appreciate Casey Green and her husband Larry and the Chapman Green team to come on out tonight. We do appreciate it. And we have, of course, Candy and Ashley that came on board with, our team members, and have been really busting their butts the last few weeks getting this event all set up. So, but hope you all had a great night tonight. We're going to be heading over across the street to Buffalo Wild Wings And I do encourage have everybody come on over, get to know your fellow stylists. You know, there's more than enough clients out there. You know, everybody can share. You know, especially if you had any ideas and anything. We're hoping to do some event like this about every 3 or 4 months. So that's why we had the sign-in roster. We'll start emailing you out. Hopefully Jeff is happy with our results for tonight, and he'll allow us to host another one in the future. But we're always looking for other local artists and talent that is more than willing to come on up and showcase what they do. So if that's something that you're interested in, come let us know. Sign up on that roster so we can try to incorporate you for the next time. But I do appreciate y'all coming out tonight, and we'll see you across the street. If you have any questions for them, just come on up and ask what you need.
Did everybody bring lots of business cards to swap?
I know, yeah.
Joshua.
Yeah, pass them all out.
Or grab some napkins at the Wild Wings. Start writing.
Thank you guys again.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.